Every December, as winter darkness settles over Iceland and the long Arctic nights swallow the horizon, a strange tradition awakens, one far older, far wilder, and far more unsettling than the cheerful Christmas tales most of us grew up with. While the rest of the world tells stories of jolly old Santa Claus and his joyful elves, Iceland whispers about something entirely different. 13 mysterious figures who descend from the mountains, one by one, each night before Christmas, the Yule Lads. Welcome back to World Mysteries, where the snow is deeper, the night is longer, and nothing is ever as innocent as it seems. Before we begin, I'll ask you one question. Are you sure you know who's watching you this Christmas? Because after tonight, you may never look at the holiday season the same way again. For most people, Christmas is a time of warm lights, soft music, decorated trees, and cozy fireplaces. But in Iceland, a land shaped by volcanoes, glaciers, and endless winter darkness, December has always belonged to the strange, the eerie, and the supernatural. Long before Christianity made its way north, the people of this isolated island feared the darkest part of winter, when spirits were said to wander freely, hungry for the living. Out of those fears came a legend. 13 mischievous, unpredictable spirits who would climb down from their mountain home to visit humans during the 13 nights leading up to Christmas. Today, they are sometimes portrayed as quirky, harmless tricksters who leave gifts for children. But their original stories were anything but gentle. The Yule Lads were once creatures of shadows, half spirits, half men, born of harsh winters and quiet superstition. And all of them were the sons of Grilla, the giantess who devoured misbehaving children, and Lepaludi, her silent brute of a husband. Even their pet, the monstrous Yule cat, prowled the snowdrifts searching for victims. So imagine for a moment, the world before electricity, before central heating, before safety and modern comfort. A frozen land, a pitch-black night, a farmhouse standing alone on an endless plain of snow. And then a soft sound outside your door, a crunch of footsteps, a shadow moving near the window. Which Yule lad arrived first? No one ever knew, but the Icelanders always felt it. On the first night came Stekkjarstör, sheep-coat Claude. Tall, stiff, and pale as frostbite, he lurked around sheep pens, trying desperately to suckle milk from ewes despite his rigid, frozen legs. His presence was always marked by the sudden restlessness of animals. Sheep bleeding into the dark, dogs refusing to step outside, horses stamping in terror. Farmers would whisper that if you heard movement near the barn on December 12th, pray that he hadn't noticed you watching. Next came Gilgjagor, Gully Gawk, slipping through ravines and snowy ditches. He hid in barns, waiting for the perfect moment to steal fresh foam from milk buckets. But people said he did more than steal. They claimed he listened, pressing his long, pale ear against wooden doors, memorizing voices inside, learning the routines of families. People feared waking in the middle of the night to see a pair of watery eyes watching through a crack in the wall. On the third night arrived Stufr, Stubby, the smallest but perhaps the strangest of the brothers. Deformed and oddly cheerful, he stole leftover pans, licking the crusted, burnt scraps of food. But legends say he didn't just eat the scraps, he whispered to them. Villagers claim they heard faint voices at night, like someone speaking inside empty pots. To this day, some say that if you hear tapping in your kitchen after midnight, Stubby is still searching for your unwashed pans. Then, as the wind sharpened and ice glazed every surface, Vörslaker, Spoonlicker, arrived. Gaunt and skeletal from starvation, he hid in the shadows of kitchens, his tongue long, thin, and unsettlingly fast. Children were told not to leave their wooden ladles out in the open, because Spoonlicker didn't just crave food, he craved the taste of a household. Once he licked a utensil, it was said that misfortune settled over the home for the rest of the winter. On the fifth night came Potaskafil, pot scraper. He waited in silence, crouching behind doors until families finished eating. When they left their stew pots unattended, he struck, scraping every last drop of food. But those who claimed to have seen him said his eyes were bottomless pits, and his hunger was never satisfied. Even today, some Icelandic families still place spoons inside their empty pots to ward him off. Night 6 brought Askasleikir, bowl liquor. From underneath beds, he waited for people to slide their food bowls out of reach after a meal. Back then, families used lidded wooden bowls called askur, stored under bedding to keep food warm. Bowl liquor would crawl out in the darkness, skeletal hands clutching the bowls, devouring whatever he found. Many Icelanders swore that if you felt your blanket gently tugged downward in the night, it was him, testing whether you had an asker within reach. The 7th night belonged to Hurðaskellir, door slammer. And unlike his brothers, he didn't hide. He relished the chaos he created, slamming doors open and shut with supernatural strength, filling houses with deafening echoes. Some said he wasn't mischievous at all, but angry. Furious at the warmth humans enjoyed inside their homes, furious that he could never truly join them. If a door slammed in your house without a breeze, especially during the darkest days of December, you were told to stay very, very still. On night 8 came Skyrgamor, Skyer Goblin, obsessed with Iceland's beloved yogurt-like dairy. He raided storage rooms, leaving claw marks on wooden cabinets. But some said he had another obsession as well: watching people eat. Villagers claimed they felt a presence behind them, a cold breath on the back of the neck, and when they turned, nothing. The Skyer lad, they said, could stand inches behind you without making a sound. Then arrived Bugmanfrekir, sausage swiper. He hung from rafters like a pale, grinning spider, waiting for families to smoke their winter sausages. If someone walked beneath him, he would drop silently, stealing the food and disappearing into the dark. But there was a more chilling version of his legend, that sometimes he didn't steal food, sometimes he stole voices. Villagers would wake unable to speak for a day, believing he had slipped down from the ceiling to silence them. Night 10 brought Gluggagir, window peeper. Thin as a dying tree branch with ghost white eyes, he crept to windows and stared inside homes, searching not just for objects to steal, but for something that fascinated him even more: people. Parents warned their children never to approach a frosted window at night, because they might see a face looking back that wasn't their own. On the 11th night came Gadathefr, doorway sniffer, with a long, unnatural nose that could detect the scent of bread through stone walls. But many believed his sense of smell didn't stop at food. They said he could smell fear, especially the fear of children. If a child cried on December 22nd, parents would hush them quickly, terrified that doorway sniffer might follow the scent. Night 12 belonged to Cat Croaker, Meat Hook, one of the most sinister brothers. He carried a long iron hook to reach smoked meats hanging high in storage rooms. But whispers said he sometimes used the hook for other purposes, dragging objects across floors or pulling blankets off sleeping families. The sound of metal scraping wood during this night was enough to send entire farms into panic. And finally, on the 13th night, came Kurtasnakir, candle stealer. Children feared him most, for he followed them in the dark, drawn to the warm glow of their candles. Back then, candles were precious, often made of tallow, meaning candle stealer wasn't just taking light, he was taking food. But legends grew darker, claiming he didn't always wait for the candle to be handed over. Some children felt a cold hand brush their shoulder as they walked at night, only to discover their candle suddenly gone. One by one, these 13 spirits descended from the mountains, watching, listening, stealing, whispering. Their presence explained every strange noise, every missing object, every flicker in the dark. Icelanders didn't just believe in them. They prepared for them. They knew the Yule Lads were unpredictable. Some nights they brought gifts, other nights, punishment. And when Christmas finally arrived, the people prayed that all 13 had finished their mischief and gone back into the mountains, because if they hadn't, their mother Grilla would come looking for them. And wherever Grilla went, the Yule Cat followed. And wherever the Yule Cat went, someone vanished. To this day, Iceland keeps the legend alive. Not because people truly expect to see a Yule Lad outside their window, but because deep down, in the coldest part of winter, everyone hears something they can't explain. A creak, a a footstep, a tap at the window, and they wonder, just for a moment, if the Yule Lads still wander the frozen nights. If you felt a chill during this story, don't worry. It's probably just the wind, probably. But if you hear footsteps outside your door tonight, well, maybe leave a little food out, just in case one of them comes visiting. Thank you for watching World Mysteries. If you enjoy stories where ancient legends breathe, winter shadows move, and the world is never as safe as it seems, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with someone who loves dark folklore. And remember, when the night is long, the old spirits walk again.